There is a silent, almost forgotten code that few know and even fewer practice. A code that has crossed centuries, echoes in the words of the wise Solomon, reappears in the writings of Napoleon Hill, and remains alive in the minds of those who turn thoughts into real wealth. This video is not just about money, but about the true origin of prosperity, that which precedes tangible wealth and remains invisible to most who are not attentive. Napoleon Hill did not limit himself to studying wealthy people. He unraveled the mental patterns that free and elevate life. He revealed that true prosperity is born from a deep alignment between thought, faith, and purpose. Now you are about to access this code, a mental map that has been hidden for generations and that may now be opening up for you. Welcome to this journey. The goal is not to imitate the rich, but to discover your own path to abundance with purpose. Take a deep breath and listen carefully. What you're about to hear is not just a theory, it is a key that opens doors only you can walk through. Few dare to face this truth. Wealth does not begin in the outside world. It is born in the silence of the mind, in that invisible space where everything is decided. After decades of study and living with wealthy millionaires, Napoleon Hill did not present magic formulas. He revealed a hidden mental code that manifested in the decisions, habits, and unwavering faith of those who built empires from the invisible. This code, lost over time and uncovered through practical observation, is not theory, but behavior, a mindset that shapes destiny. In his classic Think and Grow Rich, Hill did not just tell stories, but revealed universal laws that have always existed, like the wind that moves trees unseen. This secret code begins with the understanding that the human mind is the channel between the visible and the invisible, between idea and fortune, between divine inspiration and its concrete realization. It is in this mental space that the ancient wisdom of Solomon resides, who taught, "As a man thinks, so he is." The mind does not create wealth magically, but through alignment with laws of success that few know and fewer obey. Those who understand this awaken and stop seeking outside what has always been inside. The mental code of wealth works like a master key that only operates in the hands of those who have discernment, a defined purpose, and mental discipline. Once this key is turned, something opens. Not just money, but the spiritual wealth that supports the material. It is access to something deep, transformative, forbidden to be taught superficially, and finally understood by those ready to listen. If you feel this call, like, share with those who need to hear it, and leave in the comments what this awakening is stirring inside you.
Few dare to face this truth head-on. True wealth does not arise in the external world, but silently in the core of thoughts, that invisible space where the most important decisions are made. Napoleon Hill, after decades studying the greatest millionaires, did not speak of easy formulas or shortcuts. He revealed a secret mental code that manifested in the actions, decisions, and unwavering faith of those who built empires from the invisible. This code, lost in time and rediscovered through practical observation, is not just theory, it is behavior. It is the mindset that shapes destiny. In Think and Grow Rich, Hill unveiled universal laws that have always been present, invisible like the wind that moves the trees. The first step to understanding this code is realizing that the mind is the bridge between what is seen and what is imagined, between idea and fortune, between divine inspiration and practical realization. In this mental space dwells the ancient wisdom of Solomon. As a man thinks, so is he. The mind does not create wealth by magic, but by alignment with laws of success, known by few and obeyed by even fewer. Those who comprehend this awaken and stop looking outside for what has always been inside. The mental code of wealth is like a master key that only works in the hands of those with discernment, defined purpose, and mental discipline. When this key is turned, a door opens. It is not just about money, but the spiritual wealth that sustains the material. It is a deep, transformative access, forbidden to be superficially taught, but finally understood by those ready to listen. If you are feeling this call, share with those who need to hear, and write in the comments what this awakening is causing in you. It is not enough to want. Everyone desires something, but few have the intensity required to move mountains in pursuit of that desire. Napoleon Hill observed that men and women who reached extraordinary levels of prosperity did not start with money, contacts, or luck. They began with a burning desire that consumed every thought, preventing them from giving up even when everything seemed impossible. This desire is the spark of the creative fire. Without it, the mind remains inactive. A true desire is not fleeting. It sticks to the soul like a silent scream of someone who knows they were born for something greater and refuses to live beneath it. This impulse transforms ideas into businesses and dreams into reality. The great sages, like Solomon, taught, "What you desire with all your being shapes who you become." Therefore, desire must be channeled with clarity and purpose. It is necessary to hear anxiety and frustration, but to desire consciously, to activate the power of thought with focus and direction. Want a practical exercise? Take a piece of paper and write your greatest desire as if it were already real. Do this daily, with faith, reading aloud and feeling the words. It seems simple, but many fail not for lack of desire, but for lack of discipline. The burning desire must be cultivated like a sacred fire, fed every day without exception. When this flame burns strong, everything around begins to move and transformation starts, even if it is not yet visible.
Though simple, this ritual is transformative. Over time, words become beliefs. Beliefs generate actions, and actions bring results. Faith is the invisible key to success, and when combined with a burning desire, something profound begins to move within and without. Great achievers clearly envision their goals in their minds. They do not wait for perfect conditions or guarantees. They create mental images so vivid that the subconscious believes they are real. Napoleon Hill called this the mental creative process, a skill used by leaders, inventors, and entrepreneurs since ancient times. Solomon already said, "Without vision, the people perish." The same applies to dreams. Visualization is not fantasy, it is deep reprogramming. When we visualize with intention and emotion, the brain forms connections as if it were already happening. Millionaires silently achieve their goals every day, even before acting. They shape the invisible so that the visible obeys. It is like tuning in to divine intelligence, allowing the images planted in the mind to guide steps precisely. You can start now. Close your eyes and imagine your ideal life with rich details, the place, sounds, people, and feelings. Do this in silence with emotional control. Do not worry about the how, just hold the vision. There is a fundamental element many ignore, but that makes all the difference in the process of building true wealth: self-knowledge. Among so many ready-made formulas to get rich quickly, the forgotten truth is that no one builds lasting wealth without first deeply knowing themselves. Napoleon Hill realized this while studying hundreds of successful millionaires. Those who truly prospered were not merely after money. They sought internal coherence, alignment between what they thought, felt, and did. This clarity was like an invisible compass, guiding their decisions with discernment and purpose. Self-knowledge allows you to identify what you truly value. When you understand your own worth, it becomes easier to say no to distractions and yes to what brings you closer to true wealth. That is why ancient sages, from Solomon to historical masters, always taught, "Know thyself." Who knows themselves masters themselves. Who masters themselves leads. This is the foundation of wealth with purpose. Knowing why you want what you want and what you are willing to sacrifice to get there is essential. A simple exercise. Take paper and pen and write 3 things you deeply value. Then observe if your current decisions align with these values. You may be surprised. The path to prosperity begins when you stop living on autopilot and start acting consciously. And this awareness opens doors, including mental choices that silence hidden saboteurs masked as logical thoughts. The human mind functions like fertile ground. Whatever you plant grows, be it wheat or weeds. Hill understood this clearly by observing that success and failure originate from the same place: thought.
There is a fundamental element many ignore, but that makes all the difference in the process of building true wealth: self-knowledge. Among so many ready-made formulas to get rich quickly, the forgotten truth is that no one builds lasting wealth without first deeply knowing themselves. Napoleon Hill realized this while studying hundreds of successful millionaires. Those who truly prospered were not merely after money. They sought internal coherence, alignment between what they thought, felt, and did. This clarity was like an invisible compass guiding their decisions with discernment and purpose. Self-knowledge allows you to identify what you truly value. When you understand your own worth, it becomes easier to say no to distractions and yes to what brings you closer to true wealth. That is why ancient sages, from Solomon to historical masters, always taught, "Know thyself." Who knows themselves masters themselves. Who masters themselves leads. This is the foundation of wealth with purpose. knowing why you want what you want and what you are willing to sacrifice to get there is essential. A simple exercise. Take paper and pen and write 3 things you deeply value. Then observe if your current decisions align with these values. You may be surprised. The path to prosperity begins when you stop living on autopilot and start acting consciously. And this awareness opens doors, including mental choices that silence hidden saboteurs masked as logical thoughts. The human mind functions like fertile ground. Whatever you plant grows, be it wheat or weeds. Hill understood this clearly by observing that success and failure originate from the same place, thought. What differentiates a millionaire from a mediocre person is often not talent or luck, but the quality of the thoughts they nurture daily. Positive thinking is not blind optimism. It is a conscious choice to see opportunities even amid chaos. On the other hand, the defeatist mindset has deep roots, often planted in childhood, culture, and trauma. It is that subtle voice saying, "It's not for me. This will never work. I can't." This voice must be confronted, not ignored. True practical wisdom, as taught by the ancients, lies in guarding your thoughts with the same care a king protects his throne. What you think in silence shapes what you live publicly. The power of thought is real and practical. When you notice a negative thought, ask yourself firmly, does this bring me closer to the life I want? If not, replace it with a true and elevated affirmation. This requires training, attention, and self-mastery, but it transforms the mind. Positive thinking is not fantasy. It is a daily choice to build internally. When you change your internal dialogue, the external world begins to respond differently, especially when you understand that not everyone around you will follow your new pace. There is a silent force shaping who you become, the environment. Napoleon Hill highlighted this when revealing the power of the mastermind, a mental alliance among people who share the same purpose and vibration. Few realize that thoughts are not only internal, they are nourished or drained by the voices we hear, the looks, conversations, and energies surrounding us. Wealth requires fertile soil, and fertile soil is chosen, not inherited. If you spend time with people who complain, doubt, and disbelieve, sooner or later, you will also be pulled down. This frequency is like trying to plant flowers in poisoned soil. Have you noticed how some environments inspire you while others drain you? This is no coincidence. Millionaires studied by Hill were selective about whom they shared their ideas with, not out of arrogance, but for protection. They knew the spiritual and emotional influence of the environment could be the difference between continuing or giving up. A simple step: observe the 5 people closest to you. Do they lift you up or pull you down? Also, would you be friends with yourself? Building a mastermind starts with intention. Seek those who share a defined purpose, value ancient wisdom, and know how to listen and inspire with presence. When the mind surrounds itself with the right atmosphere, it flourishes. And in this flourishing, a firm decision begins to form. Constant doubt is a silent thief of destiny. Napoleon Hill observed that truly prosperous people do not just decide. They decide quickly and firmly.
They hold their decisions until proven effective or useless. This ability to decide does not come from ego, but from a deeper place, inner alignment. When someone knows who they are, what they want, and why they want it, hesitation stops being a habit and becomes the exception. Millionaires do not wait for perfect conditions to act. They trust intuition and discernment, sharpened by self-knowledge and experience. And when they err, they adjust course, not identity. On the other hand, those who are trapped by fear of failure become paralyzed by endless analysis. This paralysis consumes energy, time, and opportunities. King Solomon, the symbol of practical wisdom, said, "With prudence a house is built, and by understanding it is established." When decision comes from the spirit, not just logic, it has creative power. Practice this. When faced with a choice, write what you truly want and what is preventing you from acting. Then, decide on something small, but decide. Practice. The mind needs to learn that it is safe to act. As you strengthen this muscle of decision, the universe begins to respond more clearly, opening doors that once seemed locked. This movement reveals an essential quality that separates beginners from true builders of their own destiny. There is a moment in every journey when everything seems to slow down, enthusiasm cools, and results take longer. This is where most people give up. But those who persist break through the invisible layer where wealth begins to manifest. Napoleon Hill found that persistence is the invisible force behind all great achievements. It is not glamorous, does not appear in pictures, but without it, burning desire turns to ashes and purpose loses its way. Persistence is not mindless repetition. It is conscious adjustment, keeping a steady eye on the goal even when the present confuses. The millionaires Hill studied saw failures as part of the process, not signals to stop. They had unshakable faith that continuing, even slowly, would reveal the path. Persistence born of deep conviction becomes indestructible, like a seed breaking through the soil even before seeing the sun. A simple reminder: everything you admire in someone today is the result of what they did not give up on yesterday. So when everything seems still, silent, and unresponsive, keep going. This is the moment many lose the game unknowingly, and it is also where those who know the secrets of the Bible, universal laws, and mental discipline keep moving with eyes closed, but a door is open ahead because something is about to be revealed.
Living without purpose is like sailing without a compass. Any wind can carry you anywhere. Napoleon Hill was categorical in stating that the starting point of all wealth, whether material or spiritual, is having a defined purpose. A clear reason greater than money itself. This purpose justifies effort, persistence, and daily dedication. It is what keeps the flame burning on days when everything seems dark, and only those who have it can cross storms with firmness. A defined purpose does not have to be complex. It can be simple, but it must be true. Hill realized that millionaires who leave a legacy know exactly the why behind every step. This why becomes a secret code of guidance. It prevents them from deviating to easy shortcuts or giving up at the first falls. The ancient wisdom of Solomon also emphasizes this. The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Purpose connects the inner with the higher. Try this. Write what you most desire to accomplish and below it your why. Repeat this exercise until your why moves and truly touches you. Only then will it be real. Purpose not only drives, it organizes, filters, and attracts. It separates noise from direction. Once it is clear, all the mind's tools, faith, persistence, visualization, begin to turn like well-aligned gears. In this silent movement, something deep awakens in your communication with the invisible. The mind does not distinguish real from imagined. It obeys what is repeated with emotion. Napoleon Hill called this autosuggestion, the art of speaking to the subconscious with intention, implanting invisible seeds that eventually become tangible fruits. The words you repeat daily shape your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your results. What seems like luck is often the result of years of mental repetition, conscious or not. Hill revealed that millionaires are masters of autosuggestion. They courageously affirm their goals even in crises, feed their vision, and protect their minds as if guarding a secret wealth code. What is rarely told is that internal speech is the most powerful programming ever created, able to activate or block the greatest gifts. Even Solomon said, "Life and death are in the power of the tongue. The silent words, reality listens." Try creating 3 simple affirmations that translate what you want to live. Use present, simple words as if they were already true. I am guided by wisdom. Prosperity finds me. My mind is open to success. Say them with emotion and make it a sacred ritual. Repetition with feeling breaks old patterns and deciphers what has been hidden inside you for centuries. When this inner language begins to take shape, something inside you dissolves.
Fear is a silent impostor. It disguises itself as prudence, logic, and even humility. But in reality, it sabotages decisions, paralyzes actions, and weakens burning desire. Napoleon Hill did not ignore fear. On the contrary, he exposed it as the greatest invisible enemy of prosperity. The mind, when dominated by fear, closes its doors to the flow of abundance. Often, this prison is so comfortable that the person does not even realize they are trapped. Fear of failure, criticism, rejection, scarcity. These are old echoes, inherited, taught, and cultivated. But these are not immutable laws. They are suggestions that become truths through repetition. The first step to dealing with fear is to recognize it with courage and silence. Hill recommended writing down your fears and facing them, just as King Solomon confronted riddles with wisdom and patience. What is named loses strength, and what is understood can be dissolved. Try this practical exercise. List your greatest financial fears, and next to each, write a simple action that can neutralize it. Be direct and avoid dramatization. Fear respects movement. As you act, even with fear present, your mind begins to understand that it is possible to live more freely. It is in this movement that self-mastery is born, and with it,
a new mental frequency starts to take over your thoughts. This frequency opens space for a kind of force not learned in books. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. The wealthy people Napoleon Hill studied were not just visionaries, they were also consistent. They did what needed to be done, even without motivation and when no one was watching. They understood early that the mind is like a muscle that needs exercise, and this exercise is called mental discipline. Without discipline, every desire turns into a fleeting intention lost to the wind, and every goal dissolves amidst daily distractions. Focus is the guardian of purpose, and consistency is the track that turns ideas into achievements. Those who develop mental discipline begin to see beyond haste, beyond comparison, and beyond distraction. The wisdom of Solomon, with his precision and constancy, reflects this truth. He built with order and only reaped what he had intentionally planted. In the same way, the visible success of millionaires is merely the reflection of years of invisible practice, done silently with presence and firmness. Want a habit that changes everything? Choose a simple action connected to your purpose. Meditate for 5 minutes, write affirmations, read a page of a good book, and repeat it daily without excuses. When you master your routine, you begin to master your destiny. And at that point, discipline becomes natural, and the invisible begins to take shape. What was once only intention prepares itself to become matter.
True wealth does not begin in the bank account. It begins the moment you decide to live consciously. When you silence the external noise and start listening to the whispers of your own mind, there resides your purpose, your faith, and your vision. Everything shared here is not meant to be merely understood, but to be felt, integrated, and practiced daily with calmness and intention. You don't need to change everything at once, but you need to change something, a thought, a habit, a choice. Because it is in this detail that reality begins to make room for the new. Remember, the mental code of wealth is not found in ready-made formulas, but in your willingness to live a life with meaning, direction, and truth. Think, feel, act, and allow the invisible to work in your favor. If something here touched you, comment below. Share with those who need to awaken. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. The journey is just beginning, and your mind already knows the way.